You better hide! One way or another, I will find you. And I'm gonna kick your...
Hey guys, Ryan and Gadge here, and we're back breaking down another episode of Preacher. This is Season 3, Episode 3, and it's called Gonna Hurt.
But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to GameSpot Universe for full coverage on Preacher this entire season, as we will break down every episode. Also on the channel, we have full coverage of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Be sure to check it out.
Alright, so overall this episode, while a lot of stuff did happen, it was more of kind of a setup for the entire season. Number one, Jesse has to pay off the debts that his grandma is owed. Right. She's not happy with him leaving years ago, and he is starting his, repayment of debts, right, which means finding more souls for her. Also, Tulip feels really bad about how she messed up last episode when she shot at the Grail when he was just about to get his soul back.
So close.
So close, and she feels really bad, so she kind of takes matters into her own hands. And that brings us to an awesome moment where we finally see God. Yeah. The real God.
We finally see him.
Tulip O'Hare.
God? But you look just like fake God.
That was by design.
Now, one of the biggest things that we noticed when we were watching this is it felt very much like the comic books.
It did. Like, that whole scene with God felt probably the most accurate depiction of the comic books yet.
Yeah.
Like, just him saying, I am a loving God, and him talking to Tulip, and just that whole interaction just felt straight out of the books.
Now, while he said he was a loving God and he's a just God, as soon as Tulip questions him, then he shows her exactly how powerful he is.
I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am a loving God, Tulip O'Hare, but do not.
Now, a couple questions that we have. Number one, who's the lady on the bike with him?
I mean, maybe God's hooking up with her, I don't know, but she could also be an angel, like someone we haven't been introduced to yet.
That's a good point. We know that he's kind of just trying to get away and doesn't want anyone to bother him. Number two, what's this test that he is planning? A pass-fail for humanity.
Yeah, I mean, Tulip kind of called him out on it, like, that's a bunch of bull. And I'm kind of inclined to agree with her. Like, I feel like he just wants to stay hidden, and that was a quick way for him to relay a message to get to Jesse, to kind of be like, stay away, I have something bigger planned. Even though he might not.
Now, it's pretty obvious that at this moment, like, Tulip felt pretty much like a failure. Last week, she interrupted when Jesse was about to get his soul.
Right.
But I think that's, and according to God, it was all part of the plan. He counted on that. So he never wanted Jesse to get his soul back.
Yeah, I mean, I think God is legit fear of Genesis. Like, Genesis' powers is something that rivals his own, and it's part of the reason why Harry Starr wants him to be the new Messiah, is that Genesis is something that could rival him, and he does not want Jesse to have that power. All
right, back on over to TC and Cassidy, our favorite duo in this show. Cassidy's recovering from a gunshot wound from last week.
Right.
And TC is helping him out with some narcotics, some drugs.
I think hemlock they mentioned.
Happy though.
So no surprise, they bond over drugs. And also, Cassidy's a little bit too liberal with what he's talking about and explaining his background.
Right, I mean, I don't know if he willingly did it or if it really was like some side effect of whatever the drug that TC gave him, like something that helped him go under and made him more susceptible to exposing everything out there.
That is an interesting point, and it'd be crazy if like TC actually planned that, if he was trying to get like the truth out of Cassidy to kind of find out more about his background, because he has a lot of interest in Cassidy.
Yeah, I mean, TC's not as dumb as he looks, but I don't know if he was as smart enough to plan it. But I think it was a very fortunate side effect for him, because it kind of leads to an unfortunate revelation.
Let's now talk about a pretty significant theme here, and that is Tulip and Cassidy still don't really trust Jesse.
No, they don't.
Jesse's trying his hardest to explain or tell them that Angelville is a horrible place, and the people that are living there will kill you. And they're not taking it really seriously.
No, I mean, Tulip's even saying like, she might be a badass woman, but so am I. Like,
right.
I can take her on. But I don't think they realize just to the extent of how evil and sinister these people are. Like, they will go to any means to get the souls they want or to keep people confined there.
Right, and I think a lot of that is that Jesse really hasn't earned their trust yet from past episodes and years. You know, Cassidy just really thinks that he is trying to get him out of the picture. Like he's trying to get him away. And Cassidy, you know, is obviously madly in love with Tulip, so he's not in any rush to leave, but Jesse is honestly doing this for his own good. Like this is the one time where it's time to trust Jesse.
But Jesse hasn't really done much to show them reasons to trust him though. Like
Right.
in the comics, he did have that whole scene with Tulip where he actually sat down with her right before, you know, an unfortunate thing happened with Jody, actually telling her everything about why he left her and really helped build that trust as to why she could trust him.
Now the pattern of TC getting manipulated by these characters continues with Tulip and his dingle. Yes, that actually happened. And you know, he's often the butt of a lot of jokes, and he's often thought of maybe a little bit dull, but they might be underestimating him.
I definitely think they are. Like, he is dumb for sure, but I don't think he's as dumb as they're making him out to be. Like, if nothing else, his trust in Jody is so high that he knows that if he is going to be manipulated, he can go to Jody for whatever he needs.
Totally, and Tulip's trying to get a lot of information out of him, and he is maybe he's not as tight-mouthed as he should be, tight-lipped as he should be with this stuff, but ultimately, there's a reason why he's been there so long, right? There's a reason why he's second, third in command over there in Angelville, and that Grandma trusts him with the position that he's in.
Well, I don't know about that, but I could tell you a story.
Oh, I love a good story.
Yeah, you won't love this one.
Now we also get a closer look at Grandma's inventory. She has a whole lot of those blood packs on the cloths inside her room, and Tulip comes across, you know, hundreds of them. So it just proves that this has been going on for years, but as of late, it's kind of dried up, so to speak.
Right. I mean, those could just be the stockpile of ones from over the years who have maybe come and gone.
Yeah.
Like, we've even seen what happens if you rip one up. Like, they are a very binding agreement, and she has a lot of people under her control if that one jar or two jars that she looked through, if that's any indicator.
Yeah.
A lot of people are
One of
screwed.
those people is Jesse, obviously. You know, Jesse is in a blood pact with her, so anytime she twists that, he's in a lot of pain. Also, it should be noted that she decides when you're paid, when your debt is paid.
Right. I mean, no matter how much Jesse does for her, she could decide yet it's never quite enough.
And I think that's her intention is, right? It's
Yeah.
for life. You belong here in Angelville, you belong working for me, and you belong gathering souls for me to collect.
Yeah.
We also get confirmation that Cassidy does in fact want to use a love potion
Yeah.
at some point.
He finally got the love potion. He went to Grandma Marie and asked for it, and now we know that he is in possession of it.
So his target is Tulip, obviously, guys, and Jesse needs to be on lookout.
Jesse needs to be on lookout, but at the same time, I don't know, I have a theory that this is going to be a comedic bit where it's going to be used on the wrong person.
Yes,
like,
definitely
maybe
coming.
TC's going to fall in love with Cassidy or something crazy is going to happen.
What are you doing up? Where are you going?
Getting some of the wheat.
Where's Tulip?
Now, one thing to note about the love spell or love potion, there are some parallels to the comic books. Back in the comic books, after we think that Jesse had died, Tulip and Cassidy go on a drug-fueled bender and lots of booze, lots of alcohol, pills, all that kind of stuff. And while Cassidy doesn't force her to take any of those things, he makes sure there's an ample supply.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like having influence over the person's mental state. I found it interesting that in the TV version, there is a love potion to have, you know, an overall control of the person's mental love towards one another and kind of like force himself upon her and make sure that she comes with him.
Yeah, it felt more like a comic book thing compared to what they did in the comics even.
Yeah. A little small detail that we also noticed in Grandma's office, let's say, was the phone. And the phone line, I could have swore that we heard Ms. Mannering. It's almost like she has a direct line to hell.
What do you want?
First purgatory and now hell.
She can connect with those in purgatory and she can reach like the front desk of hell.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, because in the comics, like Miss Marie seemed to have a direct line to God, but in the show, they've gone complete 180 and now have a direct line to hell. It's like that to make her even more sinister than in the comics, and granted, she was real sinister in the comics.
And then just as we expected, Cassidy is gonna be Cassidy. He's a vampire, he needs blood. He goes snacking on a chicken in the yard, possibly the chicken that was revived back long ago.
I really don't think so, but you know, you never know. Show's done crazier things.
Yeah. He gets caught by TC and Jody for being a vampire, and we saw this earlier on the wall, the painting of someone hanging on the tree. They decide to hang him on the tree and leave him there until sunrise. But the interesting thing was, I mean, this was totally given away. I mean, literally in the title sequence of the episode, you see this shot.
Yeah.
And it was pretty obvious that it was going to get down to this, that they were going to find out that he's a vampire. Jesse warned him numerous times, and he never listened. So now he's pretty much left for dead until Jesse lovingly sends him to the tombs.
Yeah, he opened the very thing he did not want to do, and he could not stress that more times in this episode, like he did to Miss Marie. Like, I will not open the tombs, but he had no choice.
Got an idea. Let's get the guns and have ourselves some target practice. Boy. Yeah.
Nope. We're not doing that. Got a better idea.
So the tombs are reopened, and it's pretty much an underground fight club. Now, some of the people that have still parts of their souls left that have been indebted to Ms. Marie, they basically fight to the death down here. People like to either go there as spectators to watch, wager, or partake in the fights, I guess?
Yeah, it seems like an easy way, I say easy loosely, but an easy way to repay your debt if you're not able to by the normal means. It seems like Psy Guy now finally has a chance after all these years to repay the debt that he kind of skimped out on many years ago.
Right, so he's been down there for a long time, waiting for a fight, I guess, or they just determine who they pit two people against. So it comes down to, there's a funny little detail here on the wall in chalk. It says Vamp versus Psy Guy, as you just said. I was laughing out loud when I saw that. But basically, the only way to save Cassidy at this point is to let him fight to the death and kill this guy. My money's on Cassidy, by the way.
Right.
He is a vampire. But I guess Ms. Marie has been doing this for years, for getting another really horrible use out of a human being when they're indebted to her.
Yeah, she keeps finding ways to utilize these souls for her own enjoyment. And I don't know if Cassidy's gonna get out of this one, because again, it's up to her to decide when the debt is paid, and who knows how long Cassidy will have to be down there to pay off said debt.
Right, and I guess it's a no-brainer for her, right? If the main attraction, or it's a very popular attraction, is to be in the tombs, that just means that her business is doing well, right? And then she gets more people upstairs, they can sign off some blood packs, and she gets more youthful, and that's basically the bottom line of why she's trying to do this.
I mean, it seems like the best way for her to combat Madame Boyd is these tombs, so it's good for business for her.
Now, one pretty surprising, or maybe it shouldn't be surprising at this point, note during this whole tomb sequence was Jesse as Ringmaster. It looked like he reveled in this a little too much.
Oh yeah, it's like he put on the hat and it was almost like a mask for him, where suddenly it's just like, he just embraced the craziness of the tombs.
It got really dark, and I'm concerned for Jesse in terms of the effect that Angelville is gonna have on him throughout the rest of the season.
Right, like...
It's no coming back from this, basically.
Right, like, is this a lasting effect, or is he still putting on an act to try to convince, you know, like, TC and Jody that he is back, even though he might not actually be?
All right, let's end this video with a handful of questions and predictions that we might have. Number one, Christina, Jesse's mom. So we saw the tombstone.
Right.
We also get a conversation between Jody and Jesse in this episode about Christina, and it sounded like Jody had a special feelings for Christina.
Help me get out of here, Jody. No, don't do it for me. Do it for Christina.
Yeah, I don't know if he was in love with her or if he was just quite fond of her, but it definitely seemed like he really did care about her.
Right.
And the fact that Jesse even told him to do it for Christina seemed to trigger something in him.
Definitely. So our question is, will we see Christina back alive at some point?
I thought for sure that she was dead after last week's episode, and now I'm not so sure. Now I kind of feel like maybe she is alive out there somewhere, maybe left for dead, but could be alive.
That might be an awesome, shocking thing for Jesse to see, and kind of to pick him up and save him in a time of need for him. Another question that we have is Madame Boyd. Now we saw that she was not a decrepit old woman. She's actually a very youthful looking, who we thought was a secretary.
Right, like I actually do wonder if maybe she was once old and she's using the souls to replenish her youth. Like, it kind of hinted at that when Cassidy was talking to Grandma Marie and asking, why don't you heal yourself? And she said, I'm working on it.
So like business has been so good for the Boyds that she's now this youthful voodoo queen,
Right.
let's say, and Grandma is the decrepit old lady that has no business and is trying to get back to when
Right.
business was booming.
Like, do we think that we'll see her tap into that at some point? I'm not sure.
And finally, a question that we have, how long do we think that we'll be staying in Angelville this season? You know, a lot of the comic book is a road trip.
Right.
Throughout various US cities and European cities. How long do you think that we'll be in Angelville?
I mean, if we're judging the past seasons, I feel like it's gonna be the whole season. Like season 1, one location. Season 2, one location. Season 3, I hate to say it, and I think that's why they added the tombs. I think it's gonna be one location.
Yeah, they're a formidable opponent for Jesse, Tulip, and Cassidy to overcome. They're not just some low-level bad guys. Like this is the big bads that we've been waiting for. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching and following along. Let us know in the comments below if we missed anything at all. We love hearing from you guys.
Be sure to come back next week as we break down episode 4. And here's a little sneak peek.
These two are threatening my big, beautiful expansion plans. So I thought of you. Crazy, huh?